And we're live, okay? This meeting of the City of Socorro Planning and Zoning Commission is set to begin.
Unmuted.
This meeting of the City of Socorro Planning and Zoning Commission is set to begin. First and foremost, the City of Socorro would like to thank everyone and ask for your patience during this difficult time we have been presented with. Everyone, please remember to silence any electronics to avoid sound interruption. No disruptive behavior or outbursts will be tolerated, and violators are subject to call disconnection and possible prosecution. In accordance with Section 418.016 of the Texas Government Code and by order of the Office of the Governor issued March 16, 2020, the Planning and Zoning Commission of the City of Socorro will broadcast the meeting scheduled today, Tuesday, May 19, 2020 at 5:30 p.m. from City Hall chambers located at 860 Rio Vista, Socorro, Texas, via telephone conference and live stream in order to advance the public health goal and practice social distancing to slow the spread of the coronavirus COVID-19. The public that signed up and any presenters will be called upon by the presiding officer during the meeting to speak during the public comment or their agenda item during the meeting following Government Code 551.042. La reunión de la Comisión de Planificación y Zonificación de la Ciudad de Socorro está por comenzar. Primeramente queremos darles las gracias y pedimos su paciencia durante estos momentos críticos que enfrentamos. Favor de poner en silencio todo equipo electrónico para evitar interrupción de sonido. No se va a tolerar ningún tipo de comportamiento perjudicial o revoltoso. A quien no siga estas reglas, su llamada será desconectada y puede ser infraccionado. De acuerdo con sección 418.016 del Código del Gobierno de Texas y por orden de la Oficina del Gobernador anunciada el 16 de marzo de 2020, la Comisión de Planificación y Zonificación de la Ciudad de Socorro transmitirá su reunión hoy, 19 de mayo de 2020 a las 5:30 de la tarde desde la sala de concilio localizada en 860 Rio Vista Road, Socorro, Texas, por medio de teléfono y será transmitida en vivo para tomar medidas preventivas para prevenir la propagación de la enfermedad del virus corona COVID-19 a los demás y por la seguridad del público. El público y los presentadores serán anunciados por el oficial conduciendo la reunión para poder hablar durante la sección de comentario público o después de la discusión del artículo de la agenda por cual se apuntaron siguiendo las reglas del del gobierno 551.042.
Mr. Lafuente, go ahead. You are the head chair.
Okay, at 5:44, we called the meeting for Planning and Zoning Commission of the City of Socorro.
Thank you, sir. Item number 2, notice to the public, open forum. This time is basically for anything that you would like to speak up that's not on the agenda. Anything that is not on the agenda.
We do have, tenemos a Manuela Martínez. Señora Martínez.
¿Sí? ¿Soy
Sí.
yo?
Sí, señora, tiene 3 minutos para hablar en la sección de comentario de público, ¿ok?
Ajá. Yo es el caso de la... El caso de la 4B, Marcela. Quería saber en qué va a quedar lo que van a hacer. Así es que por eso yo, para preguntar qué es lo que van a hacer ustedes, ¿verdad? De que van a abrir las calles allí, pues a ver si me toca que me quiten un pedazo, todo, no lo sé. Eso era todo nomás.
Ok, señorita, ahorita que hagan el caso ese va a tener oportunidad de hablar. Sí, va a ser una conferencia pública, o va a poder hablar. Ahorita segmento está nada más para algo que no sea relacionado con lo que está en la agenda, ¿ok?
Ok.
Pues, gracias, señor.
Está bien. Gracias.
De nada.
Next, I have Ms. Ruby Zuniga for public comment.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Discuss, that is not on today's agenda is the state of the parks in Sapporo, specifically Cougar Park. One of the playground pieces is still incomplete. I understand there was a barrier put up, but the bridge connecting the two pieces never got replaced, and that's been, I want to say, about 4 years now. The other would be the Mauro Rosas Park. I mean, even before the government shut down, the plumbing still wasn't working in the bathrooms. They still had no access to the bathrooms. And, you know, we're limited on our parks as it is. And then we have this park that can't really be utilized because there's no water fountains, there's no bathrooms.
Alrighty, ma'am. Which park was this one you were talking about? The what was it? Where the bathroom, the
Mauro
bathrooms are?
Rosas?
Pablo Rosas. Alrighty, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Ms. Miriam Cruz, who signed up for public comment.
Is my time started?
Go ahead, ma'am.
Hello? Oh, I had a question, for maybe Mr. Terrazas can answer this. Maybe the commissioners can. I had a question about an ordinance that was brought up to the commission. Let's see. Oh, here it is. The ordinance to regulate the construction and maintenance of sidewalks and driveways in public right of way. I remember the discussion. I remember it was back in January. What I don't remember is what happened to it and if it was supposed to be brought back. And if neither of those are true, then whether it went up to city council, because I can't seem to find it anywhere in the city council agendas in the past 6 months or 5 months. I don't know if the commission was going to follow up on that, or if it was going to be brought back to the commission before it went to city council. I don't remember what the resolution was on that. And that's what I'm trying to find out. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else?
Did somebody just join? Who was it?
Hello, someone just joined via telephone. May I ask you to announce yourself?
Hi, this is Jose Castrillon.
I'm sorry,
Good
I can
afternoon.
barely hear you, sir.
I'm sorry, this is Jose Castrillon. Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I'm fairly new to this proceedings, and
Okay.
I kind of wanted to ask
Are you
a question based on what. Yes, ma'am. Go
are
ahead.
you joining for public comment or a specific item on the agenda, Mr. Castellon?
It actually just joined me by itself. I'm still trying to figure this out, but I'm concerned with what Ms. Cruz just brought up.
Mr. Castellon?
I-
So my apologies. We are in the middle of public comment. I need to know if you are wanting to sign up for public comment to to speak on
Yes.
anything that's not on the agenda, or are you wanting to sign up for anything specifically on the agenda? I need to know the item. That way I can note you down and then I can add you and you can speak.
Give me 1 second. I believe it's on the agenda. It's for the zoning, planning and zoning, new development.
On which one, sir?
This is for, give me 1 second. It would be B, public hearing rezoning for agricultural, correct?
Okay, Mr. Castellon, I'm gonna go ahead and mute you, and when we call item B, then you will have 1 minute and a half to speak on the item, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. That is all for public comment.
Item number 3, consent agenda. This is for both of the meeting minutes for April 21st, 2020 and May 5th, 2020. Does anybody want to make a motion
Yeah, I'll make a motion for the two agendas.
to
I'll
approve?
second.
Okay, I have a motion made by Mr. Arturo Lafuente to approve, seconded by Mr. Andrew Arroyos. Mr. David Estrada,
Yes.
Mr. Arturo Lafuente,
Yes.
Mr. Andrew Arroyos,
Yes.
Mr. Enrique Cisneros.
Yes, sir.
Motion carried with all commissioners present in favor. Item number 4, this is the regular agenda for discussion and action. Item 4A is a public hearing, and it is a rezoning. Consider and take action on the public hearing for the proposed amendment to the City of Socorro's master plan and rezoning of Track 9, Socorro Grant, Block 17, located at 10143 Socorro Road from R1 Single Family Residential to C1 Light Commercial to allow parking of semi-trucks.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. This item, I know you're probably familiar with it. We brought it to you on April the 7th. The reason we brought it back is because when we mailed out the letters, and you're gonna see the same thing on the next item, we had included the incorrect date on the letters that we mailed out. That's why we had to bring it back for the hearing. So this item was sent to you on April 7th. They're requesting a zoning change on a property at 10143 Socorro Road. This property is located about 770 feet from the intersection of Socorro Road and Moon Road. It has approximately 25,265 square feet, about half an acre. The existing use, there is a mobile home. They're currently using the property to park a semi-truck. And the petitioner is asking for a rezoning to C1 light commercial. Under the new ordinance that was approved, semi-trucks are no longer allowed in residential zones. That's the reason why they're asking for the zoning change. According to the future land use map, this property is be used for residential purposes. This property lies in flood zone X. On the north of the property, there's R1. On the south, there's R3. On the east, there's R1. And on the west, there's C2, general commercial. This business application was presented to the Historical Landmark Commission to verify that it complies with the historical regulations and the historical design criteria. And it was approved in January 6, 2014. The Historical Landmark Commission agreed to allow the petitioner to park one semi-truck. In 2014, they came back and they were asking for a zoning change to M1. The application was denied because we determined that it was an issue when turning into the property. I don't know if you remember, but turning into this property, space is very limited on Socorro Road. And that was the reason why the Planning and Zoning Department recommended to deny this application. Because it could be a potential hazard since the city is growing and we're expecting more traffic in the future. Might become a bigger issue later. Do you have any questions?
This is a public hearing only, right?
Yes, sir. This is a public hearing. We're bringing back the public hearing, and I just gave you a brief on the presentation that was done on April 7th. That way, public also knows what we're talking about. So if you want to if you don't have any questions, if you want to open the public hearing.
Anybody to speak on this item available?
Yes, sir. We do have 3 people that signed up to speak.
María Campos,
Did you open the public hearing already, Mr.
Sí.
Lafuente?
Okay, at 5:57, we open the public hearing for.
Thank
the
you, sir.
public.
Go ahead, ma'am.
hello, María Campos, ok. Tiene
Un minuto y medio.
1 minuto y medio a hablar acerca del artículo, señora.
Es que realmente, señorita, no sabemos ni de qué se trata la junta que iban a tener ahora con nosotros.
Ujú.
Y nomás quiero saber qué es lo que iban a hablar de la Silvia, los socorros.
El dueño de la propiedad está pidiendo cambiar el uso de suelo, señorita, para poder estacionar ahí trailers de 18 llantas. Para eso es esta junta. Si usted tiene algún comentario, puede decirlo, o si tiene algunas preguntas, puede hacerlas también.
O sea que nos tenemos que quedar callados para que ustedes hagan lo que quieran. ¿Quién es el dueño si nosotros ya pagamos?
Se me hace que no me entendió lo que le dije. Este tiempo ahorita usted tiene 1 minuto y medio para preguntar, dar comentario o algo. Lo que preguntó fue que no sabe qué era la junta. Le acabo de explicar. El dueño de la propiedad quiere cambiar el uso de suelo para poder estacionar ahí sus trailers de 18 llantas.
¿Propiedad
Disculpe,
de cuál? Si nosotros somos las dueñas de la propiedad,
de la 10.143.
de la calle Silvia y Socorro.
¿Sabe qué? Se me hace que está completamente equivocada, señorita. Esta es una junta para el caso de la 10.143 Socorro Road.
Bueno, gracias, señor.
De nada.
Bye.
Okay, I believe I also have Miriam Cruz.
Ms. Cruz?
Hi. I just I do remember this one, and I would just say that as just part of the public, Socorro Road is very tiny, very narrow, and when I'm driving and I see 18-wheelers on that road, it is not fun. If anything were to happen, there's really nowhere to go off the road, and so I hope that the commissioners consider that when talking about this item. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Isidro Torres, if you would like to say anything, go ahead.
Yo estoy escuchando la junta, sí, y la razón, bueno, no veo ningún inconveniente para entrar y salir porque estoy en la pura calle Socorro, más aparte, pues como ustedes han mencionado, tenemos ahí un C2 en un lado y enfrente tenemos otro C2 que acaban de aprobar exactamente para estacionamiento de trocas y tengo un C1 a mi otro lado, pues nada más, ese es mi comentario.
Gracias. Go ahead, Mr. Lafuente, if you want to close the public hearing.
Okay, at 6 p.m. we close the open forum.
Thank you, sir. You can now go ahead and talk amongst yourself and make a decision. Or if you have questions, you could ask me.
Did he, the last speaker, did he mention that C1 and C2 were recently approved next to his property? I didn't catch what he said there at the end.
he basically stated that they had already approved something like that of where he's at. He didn't say across or where. He just said to close to where he was at, but he didn't specify where, sir.
Okay, but adjacent, it's R1 and R3, and then another residential behind that lot, right? Okay, and then we had already denied this one
Yes,
a
sir.
couple of weeks ago, correct? So,
Yes, that's correct, but we just brought it back because it's too correct. Just in order to comply with the Open Meetings Act, because we had the wrong date on the letter, we had to bring it back, start all over. I don't know if you have any other questions or anything regarding this case. It's still the same as it was presented last time. Nothing has changed.
Okay, due to the semi trucks is a potential hazard to them out in that area, and it's kind of dangerous for the public crossing along the Socorro Road. Make a motion to deny.
I have a motion by Mr. Arturo La Fuente to deny. Do I have a second?
I second.
I have a second made by Mr. David Estrada. Mr. David Estrada,
Yes.
Mr. Arturo La Fuente,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Andrew Arroyos,
Yes.
Mr. Enrique Cisneros.
Yes, sir.
Okay, motion carried with all commissioners in favor. Item number 4B. This is a plat approval. It's a rezoning. This is also a public hearing. It is consider and take action on a public hearing for the proposed amendment to the City of Socorro's master plan and rezoning of Tract 4B, Socorro Grant, Block 27, from A1 agricultural to R1 single family residential for a new development.
This is also another one. These two are the only ones that were presented on April 7th. They're asking for a zoning change. This property is along Sylvia Court. They're asking for a zoning change from A1 to R1. The purpose of this is to subdivide the property into 10 lots. The property is about 1,500 feet east from the intersection of Socorro Road and Sylvia Court. It has approximately 108,900 square feet, 2.5 acres. This property lies in flood zone X. According to the future land use map, this property is to be used for agricultural. Currently, it's a vacant lot. There's nothing on it. And the proposed use for this land is residential. On the north, all the properties around this tract are R1s. Except for this little portion of land that is currently under, it's being developed. This is the only R2. So in order for them to subdivide with the size of lots that they're asking, that's why it's necessary to rezone to R1. And zoning department recommends approval to allow them to submit a preliminary plat to see how they're going to propose subdivision. And this is also a public hearing. Do you have any questions?
Do anybody wants to speak on this item?
Yes, sir. There are people that signed up to speak.
Okay, can we open the forum right now?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, at 6:05, we open forum on this item.
Thank you.
Señora Manuela Martínez.
¿Sí?
Ok.
¿Soy yo?
¿Puede hablar sobre el artículo 4B?
Sí, sí, ajá.
Ok.
Socorro Road. Sí, y Silvia.
Si tiene algún comentario, puede hablar ahorita.
Sí, tengo un comentario. Nosotros ya tenemos allí 30 años, ya hacemos gente grande. Digo yo, ¿cómo puede ser posible que nos quiten nuestra casita? Así es que por eso yo no estoy de acuerdo, pero pues Ustedes son los que deciden, pero eso no me gusta a mí. 30 años de sufrir el agua, todos los servicios y ir poco a poquito poniéndolo nosotros mismos. Yo no estoy en acuerdo de eso. Ahí somos pura gente grande, en esta es la Silvia. Así es que ustedes, yo quería saber eso, cómo voy a quedar yo o qué va a pasar. Eso nomás quería saber yo.
Ok, muchas gracias, señorita.
Is anybody else speaking on this item?
Yes, sir. Give me a moment.
Okay.
Name?
We have Ms. Ruby Zuniga signed up for item 4B.
Ms.
Hi,
Ruby,
this is
go ahead.
Zuniga. My concerns regarding this rezoning is, I mean, basically it seems to all the residents in the neighborhood that work is already starting without consideration as to what we have to say. They've already started clearing the lot since March. They're already building a retention wall and retention ponds in that lot. Additionally, there was burrowing owls and other wildlife that used to live in that lot that have been displaced. You know, my family has owned this property for over 30 years now. We're barely getting our sewer. We're, you know, back 5 years ago when we were trying to get the road paved, we were promised the earth, moon, and stars. We were promised a nicely paved road and sidewalks and curbs, and all we got was a slab of asphalt in the middle of the road. And, you know, nobody else is coming forward to speak on this because, frankly, nobody else believes that anything that is said is going to be honored because of what we went through 5 years ago. And what we've been going through for the past 30 years trying to get utilities and the road paved and everything, and now all of a sudden this subdivision wants to move in and you guys are moving mountains for them. And as I said, they've already started developing the land, so clearly what we have to say is not really being taken into consideration.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anybody else speaking on this item?
Next, we have Ms. Miriam Cruz.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yes, hi. Thank you. So I had a question. I have two comments. The first comment is, can someone please explain to the lady what's going on? Because she seems really worried about that her house is going to be taken away. I'd really appreciate if someone can just explain what the actual action is. Two, I sympathize with the second person who spoke. In the same boat a few years ago, it is not fun, especially when you see beautiful trees and wildlife along in that area that people tear down to build homes. It sucks, and I'm really sorry that you guys are going through that. My question is, for probably Job, I know that this is a smaller, ¿cómo se dice? Plat
Subdivision.
that is being requested, subdivision that's being requested. I mean, at least compared to other ones that we typically see. And I was just wondering if they're going to be required to also do a traffic impact analysis, since it is going to be since the Coral Road is a main street, and it's really close to that. And then I mean, I know it's an R1, so it's only going to be a few homes compared to an R2, and so, but I'm just wondering if that's also something that's going to be requested or required. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
And next, we have Mr. Jose Castellon. Mr. Castellon, you have
Hi, good
1.5
afternoon.
minutes to speak on the item.
I just want to clarify, I came into the conversation a little late. My comment was, it was a public comment. It was just for, I'm building in an agriculture area, not pertaining to this, but it was a public comment, and I'm not sure if I'm able to speak on the behalf, but I'm required, based on a new ordinance that just passed, to install certain driveways in my area, and that's just my comment, and it just doesn't make sense to me And I just want to make a comment on that. Like I said, I was confused. I came in late in the conversation. I wasn't too sure what all you were speaking about. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Go ahead, Mr. La Fuente. That was everybody that signed up to speak. You can close it.
Okay. 6:11, we close the open forum.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna clarify some of the concerns from the residents. I know somebody expressed that they're gonna demolish their house. That is not true. As you can see inside the property, this is only the limit of this proposal. There is no house inside this development. This is a completely new subdivision. Another person expressed that there's construction going on. That's outside the scope of this proposal. Construction that is ongoing is in the property that you see right here in the bottom that is vacant. This is where they're building another subdivision, and it's outside the scope of this request. This development that they're proposing has access only through Sylvia Court. They don't have access through Friolin. No, as you can see, there is no home that will be displaced by this application. And it's completely independent from the subdivision that is under construction right now at the moment. Also, somebody had a question about a traffic impact analysis. That might be required. Will be up to the city manager's designee, because we are getting a traffic impact analysis based on a subdivision that is under construction. We don't know if they're going to include this part, because this is not part of the development. So getting another TIA for this one may or may not be required. It would be up to the city's manager's designee if it's going to be necessary for this development, because it's not really large enough to generate a substantial amount of traffic. And then that was all the information I have. I don't know if you have any other questions.
What's the width of Sylvia Street?
Sylvia Street, it looks like right now we only have about 40 feet, more or less. So when they come in with a preliminary plat, this applicant was made aware that city might require additional right-of-way to widen the road a little.
Is there utilities? I heard someone, the public speakers mentioned it took a while to get utilities through there. So all the homes that are there currently have utilities, and there's sewer line and water all up and down this property?
Yes, sir. And the sewer is actually under construction right now. There's still a large gap from side to side because they're running the new line. So pretty soon there's gonna be sewer, water, all the utilities are available to this land and to the adjacent properties as well.
Okay, I'm not familiar with this road. I haven't been down this street, and I don't know the condition of the road. But again, someone in public mentioned it. My question is, would the owner of this parcel be asked to improve a portion of Silver Street? Or is that
So,
possible?
It could be possible, but again, that will be until we see the preliminary plat. And it's possible that they might be required to do some improvements for accessibility. Yes.
So I'd like to comment. I'm very familiar with this road. It's in good condition, especially this part. I mean, I think the one north of that might need some work. It's enough for a two lane road. It's a short road. It connects to Socorro. It's a nice little outlet for some of the new development and for the people that live on there. and it's got some speed humps, which I think are great, because I could definitely see where if they weren't there, people would take advantage of that and travel at high rates of speed. What I would be concerned with is, as you can see, those lots are pretty big, right? Which on the other side of that development. Now I know that this has to come to us first, and if approved, then they have to come with a preliminary plat. I guess what I would want to voice or to check in is, with those plats, or has the developer mentioned if they're going to be plats matching, the size of, somewhat the size of the existing structures that are already there? Have they mentioned anything like that?
Yes, that's the reason why they're asking for R1. Originally, they wanted to do really high density. That's not what we recommended, because all the properties, like you mentioned, across the street, everything is R1, and they're low density lots. So what they're proposing across the street is something similar to what's already existing.
And I could definitely understand the public's concern, especially when when you don't have the utilities that we take for granted. But I mean, I've driven past these lots, and I think that we can definitely take advantage of that tax base that would be much more convenient to the city than the way that I'm sure that what the taxes that we're getting now. So.
So just to make sure, the minimum of square footage on R1 per lot is 10,000 square feet.
Yes, sir.
So on 2.5 acres, they can barely fit 10 lots on there, looks like.
Yes, correct. More or less, depending on how much right of way would be necessary. Once we see the plat, we can have accurate measurements after they do the survey and provide us the real measurements. We can determine how much land would be necessary to expand the roadway if it's necessary. But yes, approximately it's about 10 lots.
Are the utilities are in there already?
Yes.
Electrical, gas,
Yes, sir.
water?
Yes.
Can you zoom out and give us lot lines for everything that's surrounding? It looks like there's going to be 10 lots potentially, and on the other side of Sylvia, you'll be having 5 lots facing one
It will
another.
be approximately half of this, something like that. Where you see the property subdivided, it's about half of those, more or less.
What's that? Holguin. They're going to be lot sizes similar to what's on Holguin.
Something similar to what you see on this side right here. Yes.
Now, Mr. Terrazas, it wouldn't be in our scope of purview to say, hey, we want less than 10 lots, because as soon as it's R1, they can make R1 11,000 square feet, but they certainly can't go down less than 10,000 square feet, right? So even though we're doubling the lots on the other side, I guess we're really limited to that, to the minimum of those dimensions, right?
You could recommend to council to reduce the allowed square footage. And but that will be when we bring the preliminary plat. Once you see the plat, how it's going to be subdivided, you could make a recommendation for to council to reduce the square footage. I think it's possible.
Now, could we increase that? Say we're, and this is just, looking at the option, instead of it being 10 properties on there, let's say that they're limited to 8.
Sure, of course, that's what I mean. I mean, that's something that we can recommend once we bring the preliminary back.
And not that I'm saying we should do that. I think with the line of questioning that, instead of declining it, we can definitely pick up on that when we get to that, to the preliminary plats.
Yes.
I make a, if nobody else has any questions, I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion made by Mr. Andrew Arroyos to approve, seconded by Mr. Enrique Cisneros. Mr. David Estrada,
Yes.
Mr. Arturo Lafuente,
Yes.
Mr. Andrew Arroyos,
Yes.
Mr. Enrique Cisneros.
Yes, sir.
Motion carried with all commissioners present in favor. Item number 4C, this is a plat approval. This is not a public hearing. Consider and take action on the plat approval for Mendivil subdivision, being all of lot 7M, block 12, Socorro Grant, located at 11408 Haney Road.
So this is a new application that we received. This property is in the corner of Passmore, and this is only a lot split. We're trying to split this property in half. This is, they're calling it Mendivil subdivision. It's part of lot 7M, block 12, Socorro Grant. It's located at 11408 Haney Road. The property is about 2,300 feet westerly from Alameda. Alameda is over here. It's about 2,300 square feet. The property is owned by Luz Maria Mendivil. A proposed plat would be as follows. So they want to split the property like this, more or less. This would be lot 1, and that would have a 32,625 square feet. That's about 0.7490 acres. Lot 2 is the one in the where there's a house. Lot 2 would have 54,409 square feet. That's about 1.2491 acres. The total area of this plat is 87,032 square feet. That's about 1.99 acres. According to the flood insurance rate maps, this property is in flood zone X. The proposed plat would generate 2 lots. Purpose of subdividing is because there's already a house inside the tract and they want to build a second house in the new lot. The Planning and Zoning Department recommends approval. Number 1, extension of city utilities is not required for this plat. And number 2, additional right-of-way is not required to dedicate on this plat. This is how the subdivision is gonna look. So here it is. They're just splitting the property in half. Do you have any questions?
So actually, there's 2 lots.
Yes, sir. They just want to create lot 1 and lot 2. And as you can see, there's the area that I just described. This is the size of lot 1. This is going to be the size of lot 2. The zoning of the property is not changing. It's still going to be R1. So for that reason, they're going to be allowed to have 1 house per lot. As you can see, lot one is the smallest of them, and it has 32,000 square feet. So we couldn't find an issue. There's no issue with this proposal.
And how the flood area is,
I'm sorry?
how the flood area, is it like rain in the area? There's no water getting to the
No,
street.
no, sir. This area is not in a flood zone. According to the firms from FEMA, this is in zone X. That means that it's in an area that is not considered a flood zone. There is no uh, historical records of this area being flooded.
Mhm. And there is an irrigation uh, easement or takia, or what is that?
Yes, there is an irrigation easement in the bottom. It looks like there's properties around it, including this one that still irrigate. They have water rights,
Uh-huh.
so they're gonna respect the existing easement. They're also recording a 10-foot utility easement. This is for overhead lines up across the property. So none of the existing infrastructure is gonna be changing. The only intention for them to subdivide is to build a second house. Everything is gonna remain the same.
Okay. So on those 10 feet utility easement, I think there's nothing to construct in that area, right?
That's correct. Nothing will be built there.
Is this public hearing or do,
No, sir, this is for you to take action, consider and take action, and I don't know if you have any other questions regarding this lot split.
I drive on that road. I know exactly where that is. You know, it's not, I think it's fine. If nobody else has any comment, I'd like to recommend approval, make a motion to approve.
I second.
I have a motion made by Mr. Enrique Cisneros to approve, seconded by Mr. Andrew Arroyos. Mr. David Estrada,
Yes.
Mr. Arturo Lafuente,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Andrew Arroyos,
Yes.
Mr. Enrique Cisneros.
Yes, sir.
Okay, motion carried. All in favor. Item number 4D. This is also a plat approval. It is not a public hearing. Consider and take action on the preliminary plat approval for Pilot Express subdivision, being a 12.92 acre tract of land in Robert E. Nix Survey number 304 abstract 7893 and Robert E. Nix Survey number 305 abstract 7892 in El Paso County, Texas.
So this is also a lot split. This property is outside the city limit. Lines that you see on the screen, the purple lines that you see is the end of the city of Socorro. This property is right outside the city limit. It is owned by Pilot Express. It's a gas station. And I'm gonna draw a line how they wanna subdivide the property. So this property is abutting, or it's right in front of FM 1110, right off of the intersection of I-10. This is on the Clint cutoff. This property is also not in a flood zone. Proposed size of the, in lot one, we're proposing 291,000 square feet. That's about 6.6 acres. Lot two would have 271,448 square feet. That's about 6.2 acres. Total area is 562,926 square feet. This is the entire plat. That's about 12.9 acres. The reason for this proposal is because Pilot Express sometimes works with some agreements for the rental of certain properties. So in order for them to make it clear, the property would be leased or rented out, we want to subdivide the land to make it easier for them to understand the legal description of each portion of land. As you can see, this area is fully developed. Nothing new will be built. The way this is graded, there's a ponding area in the property next door. The owner provided us a copy of the agreement from the neighbor where they allowed them to drain stormwater into the ponding area. This pond has enough capacity for this entire watershed. So there will be no new improvements. Everything will remain as you see it on the screen, except that it will be legally subdivided. We met with El Paso County because this property, like I said, is in the ETJ. We checked with El Paso County. They don't have any problems with this request because this is a commercial property. And as long as they comply with the requirements from the city of Socorro, county agrees to approve that as shown. For that reason, we're recommending approval. And another thing to mention is that there will be a permanent access easement recorded by a separate instrument. So here's the subdivision. And your lines that you see here in the middle, this is gonna be a permanent access easement to allow property in the back to have access to the public way. However, this is gonna be recorded by a separate document. Nothing will be built here. Like I said, property will remain as it is. Do you have any questions?
Looks like the arroyo is already controlled.
Yes.
The water up on the hill, uh, where is located the arroyo, the swamp? And it looks like they have two ponding areas, right? Or is,
Yes, well, the ponding areas that you see here,
uh-huh.
they were created to collect water from this area, from this watershed.
And on
The
the
arroyo, we're not sure if it continues the flow, because you can see the arroyo lines, they're not blocked. It looks like
they're going down.
it wouldn't affect the property. Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And on the other ponding area, is there dirty water or is oil water or what is that? Because it looks like dark.
No, this is just dry weeds or brush.
Oh, I see.
Yes,
Mr. Terrazas, the two properties are being separated, but ownership isn't changing, right?
that's correct. It's gonna be the same owner. They just want to separate them for them to, for the purpose of making it easy on their agreements, rental agreements, etc.
Would one, would, and I want to say this as best as I can. Would it be in the owner's best interest to split up the commercial side that's been developed and that was renovated, completely separated from what's mostly a parking lot, so that that would bring the commercial value down and thereby saving money on property taxes, and then they can separate the other one because I don't know what those two structures are, but it would be considerably less valuable commercially, thereby paying less in property taxes? I mean, is that kind of what they're trying to do here?
No, sir. Like I said, the whole property, whole perimeter, everything that you see here, surrounded by the yellow line, the whole thing is commercial. And reason they wanna subdivide in the middle, because this area here, it's also being used for commercial purposes. As you can see, it's a truck stop. So the whole land is being used for commercial purposes, and it's not in the interest of them to separate the parking lot from other areas of this land. This is how they're proposing it.
But then they would get, instead of getting one evaluation for the property value and then getting taxed on that, it would go from being 1 to 2. You know, not knowing what that would look like in the future, you know, be interested in looking at once that changes, if it changes.
No, it doesn't change. On the central appraisal has their bracket set for different exemptions, and whether this property is let's say they subdivide this and separate the parking lot, central appraisal is still gonna consider this a commercial lot, which is still under the same bracket.
I have a question, Mr. Terrazas. The area that pertains to Socorro City, who owns that area?
Which one is it? I'm sorry.
No, there's an area that pertains to Socorro limits right here on the corner.
Right here?
Yes.
This
right.
one?
Who owns that area?
So this property here,
Yes.
you see passing this purple line?
Uh-huh.
And I want to make a disclaimer. The lines that you see here are not accurate. These are just our lines based off of our GIS system, and they're not accurate. The lines that you see outlined with the yellow perimeter line, they're a little bit better. However, I wouldn't rely on them. Best information we have available would be the one provided by the engineer. So passing this line that you see here, this is the end of the city limit. What you see in this little square, all this area belongs to TxDOT. It's part of the I-10 interchange. I don't know if I have it. Okay, here it is. I don't know if you can see how this shape looks like a kind of like a cross. So all this is part of the intersection, and it belongs to the state.
Nobody can touch that. Do something, right?
Okay, so this access was already approved by TxDOT, obviously, and it's been existing for a number of years. Like I said, they're not proposing to do any improvements or any changes to the existing infrastructure. They're just trying to subdivide the land.
I make a motion to approve.
Who made the motion?
Andrew.
Okay, Mr. Arroyos, I have a motion made by you to approve. Do I have a second? Does anybody second it?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, I have a second made by Mr. Arturo Lafuente. Mr. David Estrada?
Yes.
Mr. Arturo Lafuente?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Andrew Arroyos?
Yes.
Mr. Enrique Cisneros? Mr. Enrique Cisneros?
Yes, sir.
Okay, motion carried with all commissioners in favor. Item number 5, planning and zoning, the commissioners report.
I'm still concerned on that connection on the North Loop and the new development by the gas by Ferrer Gas. There's point that there's no visible if somebody's driving on the North Loop when the car's coming out from the new development. I don't know if they're gonna build install a light in that area, but later on the light will be real necessary.
Yes, sir. We are still we haven't forgotten about that subdivision, and we are monitoring the traffic that is coming in and out of the subdivision. But so far, we haven't run into any issues.
Of course not, like, because there's only construction vehicles, but I've been passing when the
Mr. Lafuente, Joe, I forgot Miriam Cruz wanted to speak on 4D.
okay, let's go to the 4D.
Yeah, no, but if you just want to let her, assuming she has a comment or question.
Ms. Cruz, did you want to go ahead
Hi.
and speak on item 4D? Our apologies.
Yeah, thanks, Sergio. I was yelling. I was like, "Hey, I signed up," but
Sorry.
of course you couldn't hear me. Anyway, my only question was for probably towards Joe. Will the easement for access from the back property to the front property be incorporated, or will the city wait until that's actually in place before taking it to city council to get it approved? And I ask that because let's say that they sell in a month from now, the front property to someone else and the back property to someone else, and now we have a landlocked issue that we kind of just allowed to happen because we thought that it was gonna work out a different way. And so I was just wondering if that's something that the city's gonna ask for to get incorporated or request to either get a copy of it or confirmation that that's already been done before approving it. Thanks.
Thank you, Miriam. All right, gentlemen, if you'd like to proceed.
We were talking about the North Loop connection.
Yes, sir, go ahead. We're still on 5. Does anybody else have any other questions or anything they want to add? Okay, item number 6. This is the Planning and Zoning Department report.
There's a couple of things that I need to report. We're currently working on the expansion of Rio Vista. There's a bridge on Sanchez, or in front of Sanchez Middle School. The road is currently closed. It should be open, I guess, within a week, or in approximately about a week. Water Improvement District is gonna try to complete whatever they have to do within the next 3 days, and then the city will go in there and pave the road. So by the time they're done, we should probably have a wider portion of Rio Vista. However, there's still some work that needs to be done. It's not going to be a permanent fix, because if you pass by the area, you're going to realize there's still some electrical lines and flashers that need to be relocated. But we are currently working on trying to make the bridge wider for traffic flow better. The other project that is coming, this one you're gonna see a closure on Bowman Road. We're working with the Union Pacific Railroad, Water Improvement District, and the City of Socorro will close down Bowman Road on May the 27th. They're gonna shut it down because Union Pacific is gonna start leveling the railroad. Once they replace some of the ties that are worn and readjust the tracks, Water Improvement District is also gonna replace a culvert that is collapsed. When they're finished with all that work, the City of Socorro will go in there and repave the intersection to make it better across the railroad. So it's probably gonna be closed approximately until June the 5th. And then another project you're gonna see starting soon, we don't have an exact date. It's on Country Green subdivision. The Lower Valley Water District is gonna start replacing the sanitary sewer. There's some lines that are old and need to be replaced, And you're gonna see that work starting before the end of this month. We just don't know exactly when. This is the area off of Judy Lane, Supima, and Milo, and those little streets on Country Green. Also, there was a question about an ordinance regarding sidewalks and driveways. We are currently trying to compile the recommendations that we got from the Planning and Zoning Commission, and we're getting ready to present it to City Council for final approval. And if you recall, when we brought the ordinance to you, it was not in an ordinance format. It was basically like notes that we just put together. Now we're preparing it, looked like an ordinance before we present it to council. But because it's so long, that's why it's taking a while for us to take it in council. On pilot subdivision, the access easements will be recorded. Like I said, there is no interest in the city to incorporate the access easement because it's still gonna be considered private property. Like I said, recorded by a separate document, and the easement is gonna be owned by the same owner. So that area is not gonna be incorporated to the city. It's not gonna be annexed, in other words. It will remain part of county property. And that's all I have to report.
Thank you, Job. Item number 7, excuse absent commission members.
Make a motion to approve.
Who made a motion to approve? I'm sorry.
Andrew.
Mr. Arroyos. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second by Mr. Enrique Cisneros. Mr. David Estrada.
Yes.
Mr. Arturo Lafuente. Mr. Arturo Lafuente.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Andrew Arroyos.
Yes.
Mr. Enrique Cisneros.
Yes, sir.
Motion carried. All in favor. Item number 8, consider and take action on adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Who made it?
I'll second the motion, Arturo.
Okay. Motion to approve to adjourn by Mr. Arturo Fuente. Do I have a second?
Yes.
Who was it?
Arturo, the second one.
So who made the first one? I'm sorry.
Mr. Cisneros made
Oh.
the first one, and me the second one.
Okay, so I have a motion to adjourn by Mr. Enrique Cisneros, seconded by Mr. Arturo Lafuente. Mr. David Estrada.
Yes.
Mr. Arturo Lafuente.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Andrew Arroyos.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Enrique Cisneros.
Yes, sir.
Motion carried. The meeting adjourns at 6:48 p.m. Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.